or called them or confided in anyone. They mostly hit dead ends, finding out that while Leah made friends, she hadn't deeply confided in anyone. That is, until they find Janine Quiller, whom Leah was very close with. They had both read Dharma Burns, and she revealed that Leah had felt very connected to Washington State because of that book. Which, for those of you who don't know, Dharma Burns is one of Jack Kerouac's lesser-known novels, On the Road being his most famous. And Jack Kerouac, for those of you who really don't know, because not everybody's a English lit major, Jack Kerouac was a beat author from the 60s and 70s who wrote a lot about just traveling and finding yourself and a lot of soul searching and reconnecting with nature and how the best part of life was when you were by yourself alone in nature. And Dharma Bums is a book that he wrote while he was working in the summer of, I think it was like 1969. He was working as a fire watch person up on a fire lookout on Desolation Peak in the Mount Baker Wilderness here in Washington. And he spent a month up there alone in this fire lookout watching for fires. And he wrote all about how he found his very soul up there on the mountain. And Leah felt very, very connected to Desolation Peak. And from the looks of everything, and obviously where she was found, she was headed straight to Desolation Peak.
Interesting. Okay, thank you for breaking that down because I needed some assistance there. So thank you.
I thought everybody might. I thought everybody might. So I bit the bullet and I read Dharma Bums for everybody. It is a slog it's an interesting book. I enjoyed it, but I don't think it would be for everybody, that's for sure. It was hard to get through. But Sunday, March 19th. We're jumping ahead a little because the last date I gave you was March 13th, which was a Monday, which was the day that Kara reported Leah missing. So now we're jumping ahead another week to Sunday, March 19th. It's been 9 days without word from Leah, and it's Kara's 26th birthday. Kara obviously expects to hear from Leah, but instead she gets home and she finds a note on her door saying to call the Bellingham, Washington Police Department. That's it. Just a note on her door that just says, when you get home, call the Bellingham Police Department.
That's some bullshit. I would have been pissed.
Like,
Pissed.
Mind you, the Raleigh Police Department left this note, which just seems so unprofessional. Like, why would you just leave a note? There are better ways to contact the Family Raleigh Police Department. That's all I'm saying.
Why not find out where she works and go meet with her in person? No, just leave a note on her fucking door to come home to.
Yeah, and
freaking out about where her sister is.
Don't say, who the note's from or anything. Just leave a cryptic note. She's got lots of cryptic notes lately.
I was just gonna say that.
And, well, yeah, and, she is obviously freaked out by this note, obviously. So she calls Raleigh Police Department, and they're like, yeah, call Bellingham. And she's like, okay. So she calls Bellingham Police Department. And Bellingham, Washington, for those of you who don't know, is in Whatcom County here in Washington. It is our northernmost county. Bellingham, Washington is about 20-ish minutes, depending on traffic at the border, from the Canadian border.
Okay, so it's close, like we are over here in New Hampshire to Canada.
Mm-hmm. And this is, it's a big outdoorsy town, known for its skiing. It's right next to North Cascades National Park, where Mount Baker is. Great skiing, but that's where Desolation Peak is, where Leah was going. So she went missing literally in Bellingham, Washington. It's not even a 45-minute drive to Desolation Peak. from Bellingham. So she was right there.
Yep.
So Kara calls Bellingham police, and they tell her that Leah's car has been found. And obviously Kara's like, what do you mean her car's been found? Her car's been found. Okay, cool. Where's Leah? And they're like, oh, no, just the car. Just the car. And you need to come out here. And she's like, okay. So she gets out there, and that's when, so Kara and Heath, Heath is Leah's older brother. We don't talk about him as much because he's not as present in the story as Kara is. Kara really took over and has been really manning the case and running the whole thing. Heath was lightly interviewed for the documentary I watched, but that was it. But Kara and Heath fly out to Washington, and when they get there, they are told by the Bellingham Police Department that 2 joggers had been out for a trail run in a remote area when they saw clothes hanging from some branches. And so it was a couple, and the man walks over to the edge of like this embankment that turns out to be a really steep ravine, and he sees more clothes, loose papers, checks, broken glass, and then at the bottom of the ravine, he sees a Jeep.
Oh my God. So they didn't just like find her car in a fucking parking lot. I was thinking they found her car in a fucking parking lot.
No.
Okay. Holy shit.
They found a horrific wreck. So the man who was out jogging, who found the vehicle, starts scrambling down to the vehicle because he was like, I don't know when this happened. All this looks kind of fresh. I have to see if someone's in there. I have to render aid. And so he scrambles down there, but when he gets down to the car, he sees that it's empty. But he also sees a passport and a wallet and more checks and more clothes, and he sees all the windows are blown out of this car, and he gets the heck out of there. He scrambles up out there, and he's like, we got to call the police, and we got to call the police now. And so they call the police. Whatcom County Sheriff arrives at the scene, and it is immediately suspicious to them. The driver was obviously missing. And what's more is when they get to the scene, the windows are completely blown out of this vehicle, but there's like blankets and clothes over like the blown out windows, like as if someone had maybe tried to take shelter in the vehicle after the crash. There's stuff all over that. It's clear that no one would have left this vehicle like this voluntarily, and if someone was in this vehicle when it crashed, they weren't in good condition. So Whatcom County Sheriff tries to figure out who this Jeep belongs to, and it's pretty quickly connected to the National Report for Leah's Missing Persons case. So the police connect that, call Kara and Heath. They get out there, and the police, meanwhile, are investigating the scene, and they find that the vehicle had been going 35 to 45 miles per hour up the hill when it had crashed. It was
that makes sense when you're going uphill. That makes sense.
Except that there was no one in the vehicle when it crashed.
Okay, that's not normal.
No, that is not normal. Yeah, but you're calling it Sasquatch. So where she crashed is in the Mount Baker Wilderness, and that's the second place I saw a Sasquatch, actually. So maybe a Sasquatch did take Leah Roberts.
Maybe. It's possible.
Yeah. So, but, police search the car, and they're sure that answers lie in this Jeep. In the vehicle, they find a cat carrier and kitten food, but no kitten, which means that Leah had brought her kitten B with her on the trip because Leah had recently adopted a young kitten. They don't find the cat. No trace of this cat has ever been found.
I am shooketh right now. Shooketh.
Well, they don't find this cat. What's weird is it was a baby cat. This is a violent car wreck. Had the cat been in the carrier, it probably would not have survived the accident. That's how bad this accident was. But they didn't find the body of the cat in the carrier. No trace of Leah and no trace of her cat.
This is bizarre.
Weird, right? So Micah's in the back, everybody, going, she faked her death. I'm calling it. And Micah, I want you to know that's one of the theories.
Yep, that's definitely. No.
So you guys may think that's the theory. You both might think that. But
this is like the Maura Murray of Washington.
Wait till I tell you the rest.
Oh my God.
Because also in the car, they find So in the car, they also find, stuffed in the pocket of some jeans, $2,500 of the $3,000 that Leah had pulled out before she left Raleigh. They found Leah's passport, her driver's license, her checkbook, all of her clothes, her guitar, her cat carrier, the cat food, literally every single thing that she had brought with her, including her mother's engagement ring, which was her most prized possession that she never took off, was found in that vehicle or surrounding the vehicle on the crash site.
Okay. Like, totally giving me Maura Murray vibes.
I knew you were going to say that. Why do you think I wanted to do this case right back behind Maura Murray?
Like, I am mind blown right now.
Yeah. So they find her mom's engagement ring stuffed under a floor mat under the driver's side floor mat, as if it had intentionally been put there. Which you gotta wonder, did Leah put it there on purpose? And if so, why? Because she never took this ring off. So why?
The only thing that I can think of is that she was nervous about somebody that was maybe around her, and so she like stuffed the ring and this $2,500 in the jeans pocket under this mat.
Well, so only the ring was under the mat. The jeans were found somewhere else completely in the vehicle.
Right.
So
that's my only conclusion, is that she was trying to hide it from somebody that was with her.
That is one of the theories, is that she possibly picked up a hitchhiker and a hitchhiker hurt her.
Oh my gosh, people, do not pick up fucking hitchhikers. I mean, for the love of God.
So in the vehicle, the police also find a receipt for gas time-stamped at 12:50 a.m. March 13th in Brooks, Oregon. This is that last transaction that Kara had seen on Leah's bank account when she stopped checking. That one in Southern Oregon, that was this one. And they also find a movie ticket for 2:10 p.m. on March 13th to the film American Beauty for the movie theater in Bellingham, Washington. This gives them another big chunk of the timeline. The drive is around 5 to 6 hours from Brooks, Oregon to Bellingham, Washington. Kara and Heath spend 4 days in Washington looking for Leah, mind you, this whole time, and they take this chunk of the timeline and they go, okay, well, Leah clearly saw this movie. She has this movie ticket. Let's go to the theater and the mall where this theater is and see if anybody